say your views on like overall the harms that are happening today. And since you launched your paper in 2021, have any of those risks that you outlined, have they been addressed or remediated in any way?
Um, well, certainly people are aware of what we were talking about, and so sort of reactively putting in fixes. Now there's more and more legislation around how old you can be when you engage with these kinds of systems. And bots are having more and more policies associated to them in order to try and mitigate some of the effects of over-reliance and over-dependence. So certainly on like the policy side, people are trying to come up with solutions. On the technical side, so on the technical side, one of the things that addresses some of our concerns are the post-training techniques. So a large language model out of the box has a ton of different biases that are easily exposed and sort of problematic ways of handling the world that are sort of easily exposed. Post-training techniques are currently used. So that's after the model is trained. And there's a few different ways to further reshape the model. So one is reinforcement learning with human feedback. Another one is based on what's called constitutional AI. But the idea is that you essentially try and like move the biases of the system to be associated to the values that you want it to represent. So it is a post hoc fix, like that is like, by definition what it is. And then that these things can kind of be like jailbroken, and you can like move the model into other spaces where the post-training that's been done is not as effective as initially desired. But at least there's been work on trying to post-hoc fix news. And then not only that, but then also, because these are in larger systems, there's classifiers, so there's other kinds of models that fire in order to address some kinds of issues. So you mentioned earlier, like, can it say like, well, I'm not going to answer that? Like, yeah, the things that it would generate are first put through a classifier, or the things that you're asking can first be put through a classifier that then makes like a 0-1 sort of decision, like continue with the generation or like go to this other thing where you say, I'm not going to answer that. It's been definitely post-hoc fixes. Yeah, and there's been work on making smaller and smaller models too. So I should sort of flag like from the larger and larger perspective and the problems that come from that. There's a lot of work on making smaller and smaller models, and there's a lot of work on making models that can run locally on your device, so it doesn't require a data center.
Now, okay.